So this is called a screen crab. You can spy on somebody's computer screen. Who's gonna remove this?
Nobody.
You know, the Nyan box does jamming as well, which is a federal crime. Here we go. Kill Wi-Fi, video cameras, drones. You can transmit a tire pressure monitoring reading and make them think they have a flat, so they pull off to the side of the road. This is called the hacker's nightlight.
Nothing.
Looks just like a smart plug and a smart light, right? I could listen to network traffic with this thing. I could steal handshakes with this thing. That could be any color, so it would match your hues. I'm trying to speed through because I don't want to make this too long.
Don't speed through it. This is good shit.
So this is called a screen crab. And a screen crab, if you notice here, it's got an HDMI on one side and an HDMI on this side. And basically this little antenna broadcasts a signal. So I could put this behind a computer monitor, put this behind a TV, and more importantly, a computer monitor. And then there's an SD card slot in here on this side right here. That stores a ridiculous amount of footage, like way more footage than you would imagine because it compresses the video. And this will be in line, so you can spy on somebody's computer screen. And they, you know, if you put IT use only, do not unplug, you know, like and put it on a Post-it note or something, stick this behind the computer, who's gonna remove this?
Nobody.
You know? Most people are just gonna ignore it. So I thought this was a cool little covert spy gadget that who's looking behind their monitor either? You know, like it's just a cool little gadget to have, especially when you're doing a physical pen test and you wanna watch people go through their internal systems and see their internal communications. If you can get this thing in there, then you can stand outside their office and wirelessly watch it or store it to the SD card and then watch it later. So
you can hook that up wirelessly?
Yeah, that's what this is. So I could take the footage that's stored on the SD card and download it wirelessly or watch it wirelessly live.
Wow.
Yeah, I would have to be in range of it though.
Gotcha.
So that's the screen crab. And then this is called the land turtle. And the land turtle, the way I have mine configured at least, is the second I plug this into USB. So if I went into one of your offices and I plug this into one of their computers, it's going to immediately try to connect back to my server at my house and give me a connection like to this device. And then from this device, I can try to pivot from this device to your other devices on the network because this is a mini computer inside of here. So it's without going into, because it's nerdy stuff. Without going into the details, I can use this device to pivot onto other devices, to other ones, and then I could be a million miles away from you and still have access to this because it's connecting directly back to me.
Shit.
Yeah, and Hack5 makes, that's the name of the company. They gave me a bunch of cool stuff. That's where the guy you interviewed, Mike Rover.
Yeah.
He works with them with his OMG cable.
No kidding.
Yeah. And this, another guy gave as a gift, J-Lo Hacks, or J-Blow Hacks, he's got an interesting name. And another guy, J-Bo Hack, hold on, sorry, I got your name wrong, J-Bo Hacks, and another guy created this, and ZR Kraken is their usernames. They created this thing called the Nyan box, which is 3D printed, but it is very capable. It does a lot of what this device did, like the dual ESP, but the Nyan box does Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and then it does jamming as well, which jamming is a federal crime.
Mm-hmm.
So, but people can still do it. Doesn't mean people aren't going to commit that federal crime. So you could jam, which I'll show you here. I can choose, hold on, give me a second here. I'll get into the actual jammers. Yeah, I have WLAN jammer, meaning I can jam Wi-Fi networks. You see that on the top there?
Yeah.
So I could jam your Wi-Fi network right now, and if any of these cameras are hooked up to Wi-Fi, it's going to knock them offline. Like not using that de-auth attack I was talking about earlier, just broadcast, very similar to the Chinese, broadcasting the same frequency at such a high, like, I guess what's the better way to explain it? It's flooding the air with so much garbage on the same frequency that it doesn't know how to communicate anymore.
Yeah.
That's what jamming, that's how it works. And then there's all kinds of cool features that are, I'm skipping over, but there's actually one in here that has protocol kill. Here we go. Kill Wi-Fi, kill video cameras, like meaning wireless cameras, doorbells, kill RC, like drones, RC cars, anything that uses a remote controller, just kill that frequency. Bluetooth low energy, USB, wireless, like USB mice and keyboards. This is for, what does he have here? Zigbee, that's another protocol. And then NRF24, that's basically the same thing as what I was saying earlier with the keyboard and mice thing, but still a different, it's all of these different things. I can choose which one. So let's say I do wireless camera, I click it, and then I can start that attack, and it will knock those cameras immediately offline. So that's one thing. And then the last thing I'll show you with this device is the sour apple attack. So you're on the brand new version of iPhone, right?
A little bit behind here. They just came out the new one.
Like you're at least above version 18.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to break your phone. All right, so I just enabled sour apple.
Mm-hmm.
Do me a favor and unlock your phone real quick. You can even put it in airplane mode. It's not going to change anything.
It's in airplane.
It already is?
Join this Apple TV.
Yep, here, keep hitting X. You're in airplane mode right now.
Connecting. I hit.
You're in airplane mode right now, so you shouldn't be getting any connections, right?
Apple TV keyboard, password auto.
Keep going.
Wireless audio sync.
Yeah, I just got a transfer phone number option. I just skip it to you so you can see the screen. What the?
Sign in.
It probably shows your iCloud ID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, little things little OPSEC mistakes that Apple makes right there that I could have pop up on someone's screen.
Transfer phone number.
Yeah.
AirPods.
But at that point,
Set up Apple Vision Pro.
but it makes it so your
Set up
phone's
your Apple
unusable even if you're in airplane mode. And the only way to avoid that is to go into settings and disable Bluetooth. Not from the control center or in airplane mode. You got to go in your settings and turn Bluetooth off. I just assumed, and I think most people do, when you turn airplane mode off, your phone is turning all channels off, but it's not.
So this just disrupts just about anything that's wireless.
Well, that one, I did the attack towards the phone, but I do have some ways that I could do it with Windows computers or Android phones. I have different attacks, but yeah, it makes it, the older versions, it crashes the phone completely. The beta version of the newest version for iPhone, like iOS 26, it was crashing that too. But the newest version, it's not. It's just, it makes your phone unusable. Like with so many, you can't use it with that many notifications popping up.
I want one of these too.
Yeah, I can ask them to send you one. They 3D printed it for me.
Do you ever think about, when you're working with Sentinel Foundation in another country and you're going out, you're hunting predators? I mean, I'm just curious, do you ever run the jammer so that nobody can tap into your phones, nobody can listen in, nobody can do any of that while you're having like a face-to-face conversation? Let's say you guys are doing your brief.
So we use Faraday bags. So I haven't had I've never had to do that with a jammer, but we do throw stuff in Faraday bags. And I mean, you see me, I'm nuts with it. I put my laptop in a Faraday bag. I have that's actually something I'll bring up. I know I'll save the rest of it for the end, but the we donated in collaboration with this company. We donated 130 something recently to law enforcement in Peru. And the reason why these bags are important for phones, if no one knows, a Faraday bag, if you're unfamiliar, for the people that are watching, it just blocks signals from going in and out. Mm-hmm. So when, let's say there's a predator or a trafficker and they get arrested and the phone gets seized, right? You put their phone just like this in the bag, and then now it is locked. This phone has zero signal right now. It's not getting in or out of the bag. So let's say you're law enforcement and you are trying to make sure that evidence stays intact. You now have the ability with Apple, with iCloud, with Android, you can wipe that phone remotely. So before they even get back to the station, somebody could wipe that phone and all your evidence is gone. Mm-hmm. But if you keep that phone in a Faraday bag, then your evidence stays preserved. And so that's one thing Sentinel did recently was make sure that law enforcement was equipped with these bags because they're cheap and certain companies are more expensive. This one's a little more than others. They're just a nice brand, but there's other brands that are like $10 a bag, $20 a bag, and that could be the difference between a guy doing no time in prison or the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So
damn.
I think they're very important.
Yeah, let's take a break. All right, Ryan, we're back from the break. What are we looking at next?
All right, so I'll get through a couple more of these gadgets, and a friend of mine, Rocket God, who was nice enough to send out this, so the newer one, so that I could show a newer one. Last time I was here, I showed the Hack RF, but it was like I bought the radio and then I put a thing called a Portapack on top of it, so that it had a screen.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a Frankenstein version of this.
This was the thing you can control airplanes with, right?
Yeah, same exact device. This is just way newer and better and has newer features and does different things. But basically, what I wanted to show you, obviously watch the first one if you guys want to know more about it. But for you, Shawn, what you can receive on this thing, obviously airplanes, boats, Bluetooth. You can have it's like any sub-gigahertz signals, you're going to see what they are to some degree. Weather transmissions in the radio. You're going to have tire pressure monitors, which is the one I wanted to kind of stop on and explain, because I can actually, when we're driving around, I can see people's tire pressures in their cars. And then in certain cars, the way that not all, but a good amount, I mean, I don't know the exact number, you can transmit a tire pressure monitoring reading to the car and make them think they have a flat, so they pull off to the side of the road. And I'm sure you can understand the dangers in that.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a bunch of random features in here, like satellite stuff and fox hunting, meaning like finding other people that are that have radios, and that's all here in the receive section. And then it's obviously touchscreen too. The transmit feature, though, this is where there's a couple funny things that were added. So touch tunes, like the bars and clubs and restaurants where you have to pay for the music. This has a full controller for them. So I can turn them up, I can change the song, I can change the volume, I can turn them on, off, do all these things, which is unbelievable. Like it's a ton of fun when you're at a bar or something and some crappy song's on, you just skip it and some guy just paid for it.
You know what everybody dreads? The inbox. I've gone through thousands and thousands of emails, and I hear you loud and clear. So we're making it official. The Vigilance Elite store is fully stocked. We're dropping new gear more often. Some limited edition, some permanent staples. We've got hats, tees, and even Vigilance Elite tumblers. And yes, before you ask, I'm still booze-free. It's been 3.5 years. Relax. It's just water. If you were one of those emails, consider this your green light. Head over to ShawnRyanShow.com and stock up.
You have the ability to Bluetooth spam, kind of what I did earlier on your phone. You have key fob. So another one, CVS spam is what it's called on here. But CVS, Walgreens, Lowe's, all those places that have the assistance bells, like when you're in an aisle and it'll say like click the button to get an attendant. All of those buttons have been captured by hackers out there. So if you're in, let's just say a CVS, and I click CVS spam, I have first aid department, aisle 11, film department, vitamin department, all of so many, like at least 100 different buttons. And then there's a chaos mode. You see that button down there? It says chaos.
Yeah.
So if I click chaos, all of them go off at the same time. So the intercom goes, ding, assistance needed in the dentistry department. Ding, assistant needed in the cosmetic. But the funny part is,
we got to go to CVS tonight, and I got to hear this shit. This
is
hilarious.
The part that sucks for the employees at the place is sometimes it's ringing bells that they don't even have. So they can't go to the aisle to turn it off. They got to go into the back and reset the system because they might not have a cosmetics department, but they need assistance in the cosmetic department.
Nice.
So that was something interesting. And then something I contributed to this was the gas station signs. And I made a video, and so did the guy who gave me this, where you could change the prices of the gas signs. It's on my TikTok. If you go all the way back, you'll see the gas gas, like the actual price, I was changing to like $7 a gallon, just by sending a radio frequency. And then as you know, we talked about before how you could transmit radio to airplanes and cause some confusion, bare minimum, without getting into the danger side of things. So that's that in a very quick snapshot.
Does that come like that?
No.
Or do you have to configure it?
The Hack RF itself doesn't come with the firmware that's on this, but you can get the firmware, and if you're motivated enough, you'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, technically, kind of, but also no. All right, and then
Stuff just scares the hell out of me, man.
I showed this last time, but I'll get into the whole creating cybersecurity content online and how that was all a thing for me. But this device right here, the Ponagachi, I showed it on the last episode. I'm showing it again. This thing must have got 50 million views combined on just my not people clipping my stuff, just my own channels, and something close to that. And basically, all this does, as soon as you turn it on, is it looks for all of the Wi-Fi networks around. And it's just like, do you remember Tamagotchis when you were a kid? Like the little pets that like you put on your keychain, you got to feed them or they die.
Yeah.
It's essentially exactly like a Tamagotchi, but it lives off of eating Wi-Fi networks, meaning taking the Wi-Fi password, it's called a handshake, and it uses that as food. So the more handshakes it captures, the smarter it gets, and the more efficient it gets, and it goes into this auto mode where it gets itself on the perfect frequency so it can capture as many networks as it can as you're walking around or while you're in a building. So this thing is, and you're watching the screen, the thing's got it smiles when it gets a network, it's mad when it doesn't, it has a whole little personality. And this is called the Ponagachi. You got to build these though.
Okay, so hold on. So if you turn that on, it just eats my, what does it do?
So it's how it works is it knocks your devices off the network, very similar to what we talked about. Mm-hmm. As they're reconnecting, it's capturing the handshake between that device and your router. And that handshake is what I would bring onto my computer later to crack your passwords.
Dude, what? How the fuck are people supposed to protect themselves from this shit?
I mean,
is it just impossible?
It's a cat and mouse game.
Would that other device, that Verizon network thing in disguise, would that pick that up?
No, because that's cellular. This is Wi-Fi. Yeah, but there are things that
so you could just be running around with that, and you'll just capture any Wi-Fi network you want.
Anything on 2.4 gigahertz. But there's newer devices now that work on 5 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz. Like Wi-Fi 6. This is 2.4, which almost everybody still has. But whatever the case is, it does some damage for a couple different devices sandwiched on top of each other, like just a battery pack for $6 on Amazon, basically. And then you have a Raspberry Pi Zero, which they're very cheap, $10, $20, somewhere very cheap, and then $3 to $4 for the display, sandwiched on top, custom firmware, and now you got a Ponagachi. So
I mean, is it impossible to protect yourself against that stuff? Or
I mean, you can have like a de-auth detector, meaning like if it sees a de-auth packet, like what that thing is doing to try to get the handshake, you'll know it happened, but you're not going to stop it. Like, especially on the older stuff, it's just not even possible.
Man, dude. Every time you come around, it scares the hell out of me.
Well, I'm sorry, but also not sorry. Because I'm trying to educate the people that would never, look into this stuff because they don't care, But they'll care if it happens to them.
So you got to be running a jammer.
If you're running an illegal jammer to stop the crime from happening to you.
Yeah.
But then you won't have internet, so it's a catch-22.
Damn, dude.
One last thing with gadgets that I want to bring up that I know that this one is something that's up your alley. Is a friend of mine, Peaks, loves hardware hacking, and he sent this out to me, two things out to me actually, and he calls this the Hacker's Nightlight. Let me move this out of the way. So this is called the Hacker's Nightlight, and take a look at it. It's nothing about this thing while I get the other thing out looks like there's anything that could be done. Like it doesn't look like anything but a regular smart bulb you would order on Amazon. This one is still in the Amazon packaging that he just wrote on it, so I know that it's hacked. But like, look at this. Like, what about this tells you it's even been touched by somebody?
Nothing.
Nothing. It looks just like a smart plug and a smart light,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we talked about the last time I was here how I had it was like it's called a Tinico. It was a vacuum mop that connected to a Chinese cloud server, and how they could potentially push a custom firmware update to the mop without you knowing that it was malicious to get on your network, or if a hacker infiltrated their servers, they could do that to any of your smart home devices. Well, here's an example of smart home devices that are already hacked, that already have custom software, firmware on them, that the second they're powered on, they get full access to your to the Wi-Fi network in the air in your area. So I showed a video on my social media of that light bulb capturing a wireless camera that was transmitting data over HTTP, and which just means that I was able to watch the camera feed without even connecting to the Wi-Fi, without the password at all, just because that light bulb was in proximity of the camera. So I'll show you when I plug it in that thing will turn on like a light bulb, but it's going to broadcast its own network. And this is a kid's lamp. So let's say I'm in your office, right? I'm in your office. You leave me alone for a minute, and I swap out one of your bulbs for this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how often you're checking your light bulb, Shawn, but
I can tell you this much: if the hue's off, I'm on it.
So let me turn the bulb on. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I definitely noticed that. Right off. That is not.
But in the software, you can see you can change the color, so I can match the hue of your.
Of course you can.
Well, he planned for that. So while that's very bright, you can see the network here. It's called Nightlight.
Yeah.
So that bulb has its own network that's coming off of it. Sorry, you want me to be under the thing. So let me connect to the Nightlight.
Oh boy.
Here we go. So look,
What
Hacker
if they stole
Nightlight. I'm connected to a configuration page, and then see I have there's oops, trying to send me a message. Light color setting. I can pick, the color code. I can check the brightness. I could change it on. Did you see how the bulb reacted to it? I could change all of that. I can change the attack. I can steal. I can even denial of service attack, like I was just talking about. Take the Wi-Fi out with this thing. I could listen to network traffic with this thing. I could steal handshakes with this thing. Same as the Ponagachi. And all this needs to be is just in proximity of your networks. And it's a light bulb that can be any color, so it would match your hues.
Damn.
So that's one.
And you can just buy this on the internet.
Well, Peak, yeah, I'm sure Peaks would sell you one, but he made this for me.
This stuff is scary.
Yeah, it is very scary, and it comes in all shapes and sizes, and most people are never going to know when these things are in their house, in their office, in their car, and the way to detect them is pretty tough, like using kind of what we did last time I was there, like using a bugs finder with an EMF detector and just taking educated guesses. Like, of course, a smart bulb or a smart outlet is going to be emitting electromagnetic fields. It's going to be emitting Wi-Fi. That's what they're supposed to do. So how are you supposed to know it's malicious or not malicious? So trust me, I love coming with solutions, but in certain cases, there aren't solid solutions.
Damn, man. What's your favorite device out of all this stuff?
Favorite device out of all of it? Like I said last time, my laptop, because there's, it's endless. But if you're going to say gadget, I'm going to go with this.
No kidding.
The H4M, yeah.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.